Booyakashan, or whatever it was Ali G used to say. It's Friday night. Hello everybody. I wanted to talk about our card for the day, which was the Earth Keeper from Mystical Shaman Oracle. And it's so funny because a lot of weekends, like historically, if you have been reading my posts on Instagram, it's like very regular that we always have assignments to be like reflective and pensive for the weekend and like, you know, turn that time inward. But this weekend, it's really all about like getting really in touch with our physical world. I think it's important to stay earthed and grounded, especially if you lean towards the ethereal side of life and it's easier for you to just like float up into the ethers than it is to just like maintain in this physical world that's so clunky with these like big flesh bags on. You know, it's like when you have to wear gloves and you're not used to like doing anything in like rubber gloves, you're like, what? I can't do anything. I'm not dexterous anymore. So yeah, so it's important to earth ourselves, because if we get too dreamy and we go in too deep or we go too far out, it's like we all of a sudden become disembodied. And I don't know, have you ever been like alone for like a couple of days at a time, or maybe just all day, and then like you go to the grocery store and you feel like you're just like floating through it like a dream and like nobody's real, and then you're like, oh, maybe I should be a little bit more self-aware in case I'm like acting like a lunatic. Like, do I look normal? Is this natural? Is this how I walk? Am I walking right? Is this how we do it? I don't know. I don't know anymore. So stay earthed. Today I went out on a really long run. I love walking through the forest. I didn't know. I just read something somewhere recently that was like a tree bath. And I'm like, I take tree baths all the time and I didn't realize. But I love going out and being surrounded by trees and forest and woods and just getting lost. I mean, we really take for granted that in these modern times, we don't have a lot of space, like, from the other bodies around us. Like, I'm in a townhouse, so there's somebody on the other side of me. And I realized it when I was working on the show, and we had this like huge sound stage. It was like this industrial like warehouse building. And at night, I'd have to go and like make sure all the doors were locked. And there were so many like doors and lift gates and like bays and just make sure everything was like unplugged and turned off and locked. And I would go walking around the building, and we were also like down this like rural like industrial road with nobody else on it really at that time of night. So I would feel so alone, and it was so crazy. And it wasn't in a bad way, unless the security guard was like trailing behind in the shadows. He would wear cowboy boots, and I mean, I don't want to be judgmental, but he fit the profile of a serial killer who would like wear your skin, dance around in it. Yeah, that was unpleasant, but otherwise I would relish the moment of that huge space around me. So if you can, and if you can feel safe about it and follow your instincts and follow your intuition, but it's so nice to go out for like a solo like walk out in the woods. I would never go out camping alone. I do not recommend that. That is literally like the plot of a horror movie. But yeah, go walking alone. It's really, really nice. But while you're out in nature, I'm the person that's like walking around barefoot in the park with like the muddy feet and like carrying my shoes, because it's just really good. I mean, not only does it really feel good on your feet, it really, like when I'm frantic or I have a lot of like disembodied anxiety, or if I just have a lot of energy, I'm a fire and air, and so I'm just like I'm like a combustion engine all the time. So I need like a lot of activity, and in order to like kind of ground some of that energy and just store it for later, it really helps to get your bare feet on the ground, especially if you can walk through some of that like cold, firm mud. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. And then like, some soft ground cover. I love it. I'm like, ooh, this is good barefoot walking. And then there's a path that's like very grassy that I like to walk down in between my hard mud. And then there's a creek, but the grassy knoll, it really I feel like Anne of Green Gables. I don't know if y'all are fans. Anne with an E is actually like, I approve of that reboot, but yeah, there's like, she's all about a grassy path as well. And I'm like, yeah, I feel you. I'm like, all day on that grassy path. Another thing that I do is I will take salt baths. Salt baths also ground a lot of excess energy. So if you're putting crystals and stones in your bath and all that stuff, and you're sitting in this soup of like energy, you might want to throw some salts in there to ground it down. And to it's also good to like detox you, I think, energetically and like literally chemically. It pulls like toxins out of your body and stuff, so it's really good for you. But yeah, I think that to the fresh air, like I think that the air can cleanse you and the sun can cleanse you. And in fact, I don't know if anybody else is a fan of those Gnostic Gospels, y'all feel me? Like who's out there reading the Gnostic Gospels? But there's one, I'm not sure if it's considered one of the Gnostic Gospels or a Dead Sea Scroll or one of these lost biblical fan fiction from ancient times. There was a gospel where Jesus went to visit the Essenes, which were these very peaceful Christian, Gnostic, meditative, I mean, it was like pre-Christian because Jesus was like just doing his like first world tour. So Christianity really like developed over like the couple of centuries that like came after. But at the time, they were already like on board. They were mystics, and he went and talked to them about well-being, and he was talking about different like health tactics. I won't spoil it because it's a good one. I mean, you can read these things in like 15, 20 minutes and find them online, but there's he does suggest that you call on Archangel Raphael to use the cleansing powers of the fire of the sun and the air to cleanse you as you're outside roaming around. So I like to do that when I'm running, and then ask Gabriel to use the cleansing powers of water to cleanse you. And I like to ask Gabriel to cleanse me through my sweat and any water I come in contact with. So if you can put your feet in like living water, like a creek or any natural body of water that hasn't been treated, that's also really good. Earth Keeper. Oh, this was something they mentioned in the card in the book. It was like, you know, the better we take care of ourselves, it's like we're also paying that energy forward to Mother Earth. But on another note, as light beings, as we fine-tune our frequency, we're not just channeling in information and downloads, we're also broadcasting out. When we up-level, it up-levels all the realms. And so it really is, it can have residual effects in other dimensions for us to just have like a really great, healthy experience in the 3D. And as I was, you know, just thinking about this card today, I just thought, wow, how simple it is. And maybe an exercise we could do is like maybe a meditation or like some visualizations over the weekend and some journal entries. And maybe while you're taking a walk, listening to music, like, you know, in that bath, like daydreaming or whatever, start picturing your life, not too far in the future, just pretend it's like in the present. But like, imagine it's like the best version of your life now. Like you're like your best self, like in this moment. Not because like some big lofty dream came true, but like imagine yourself now, your life as it is. What is like the A+, like shiniest version of that, of you in that life together? And think about those, because it's probably fairly simple tweaks that would start getting you there and make a huge difference. I know for me, and this is not, you know, anything too deep, but just having like a good sleep cycle, going to bed relatively early and then waking up early, drinking tons of water, getting enough exercise, like getting out in the fresh air and like in the sun, like in it, just getting your blood going. It just feels so good. And it makes you feel so good and so accomplished, and eating well, eating clean. And you don't even have to like sacrifice anything, really, just eat intuitively. Like if you notice, like if I eat ice cream, I'm like fat the next day. Like it is just like immediate, like I can't, like I have to really plan out the ice cream. There are certain things where I like to eat it, but I'll feel like crap afterwards. Like I love like nasty top ramen with like the soft boiled egg. But I know that I can only have that sometimes because I'm going to feel like crap for like the rest of the day, maybe the next day. But at the same time, like I can eat a baguette and like chocolate all day and like it never affects me. You know, like I was eating like bread and soups and desserts, getting all fat and sassy like the lady says in the clip. And I was like still losing weight, but if I eat ice cream like the next day, I'm bloated. Like, so, and it's my favorite too. It's so ironic. Yeah, so eat the foods that make you feel good. And if you make stuff from scratch, then you can eat more. It's mostly the processed like crap that we eat that's supposed to be food, but it's not really. It has no nutritional value, like frozen, anything that's like pre-made. Like if you can make most of the stuff yourself, then you're like ahead of the game right there. Yeah, I think that's it. Just take care of your kingdom, your physical kingdom. Sometimes it can just be that simple, because that's necessary too. You know, do some of those extra things around the house that you've been meaning to do. Get tactile, get sensual, throw some smells up in the air. I know I've got sandalwood burning right now and like a nice candle. Yeah, fabrics and textures that feel good. Like really like just play in that physical realm. If you like figure painting and stuff, arts and crafts, get into some of that. But yeah, really enjoy the physical world this weekend and let that joy lead you to dream. Yeah. All right. Well, have fun playing, Earth Keepers. Peace.